Ferdinand Magellan was a Portuguese explorer. He was driven by ambition and the desire for glory. Magellan envisioned a westward route to the Spice Islands. These islands, now part of Indonesia, held immense wealth. They were the source of cloves, nutmeg, and other prized spices. Europe craved these spices. They were used for flavoring, preserving food, and even medicine. Magellan believed that by sailing west, he could reach these islands faster. He presented his plan to the King of Portugal, but it was rejected. Undeterred, Magellan turned to Spain. King Charles I, eager to challenge Portuguese dominance in the spice trade, agreed to finance the expedition. In 1519, Magellan set sail from Seville with 5 ships and a crew of over 200 men. Their journey would be long and perilous. They faced storms, starvation, and mutiny. Magellan, however, remained resolute. He was determined to achieve his goal, no matter the cost. The journey across the Atlantic was arduous. The vastness of the ocean tested the limits of human endurance. Magellan's ships, tossed about by storms and battered by wind, slowly made their way south. They were following the coastline of South America, searching for a passage to the Pacific Ocean. Weeks turned into months, and still they searched. The crew grew weary, their hope dwindling with each passing day. Finally, after a year at sea, they found it, the Strait of Magellan. This narrow passage, treacherous and unforgiving, offered a way through. Magellan's skill as a navigator was tested like never before. He guided his ships through the labyrinthine waterway. They battled strong currents and faced the constant threat of running aground. But they persevered, emerging into the vast expanse of the Pacific. The Pacific Ocean, true to its name, greeted Magellan with a period of calm, but this tranquility was deceptive. The vastness of this uncharted sea presented its own challenges. Supplies dwindled and scurvy, that scourge of sailors, began to spread through the fleet. Many men perished, their bodies cast into the sea. Still, Magellan pressed on. His determination to reach the Spice Islands remained unshaken. After months of sailing across the Pacific, they spotted land. An archipelago, lush and inviting, lay before them. These were the Philippine Islands, a land unknown to Europeans. Magellan and his men, weary from their long voyage, welcomed the sight. They went ashore, eager to replenish their supplies and rest their weary bodies. The arrival of the Spanish ships caused a stir among the islanders. They had never seen such vessels before. The sight of these strange men, with their pale skin and unfamiliar language, sparked curiosity and in some cases fear. Magellan, however, approached the islanders with a mixture of caution and diplomacy. He was determined to establish friendly relations. Magellan soon discovered that the islands were not a unified entity, but were composed of numerous independent chiefdoms. Each had its own ruler, its own customs, and its own language. This complex political landscape presented both opportunities and challenges for Magellan. He saw a chance to forge alliances and expand Spanish influence. However, he also had to navigate these rivalries carefully to avoid sparking conflict. On the island of Mactan, a powerful chieftain named Lapu-Lapu ruled his people. He was known for his bravery, his skill as a warrior, and his fierce independence. Lapu-Lapu was a formidable leader. He commanded the loyalty and respect of his people. He was deeply connected to the traditions and beliefs of his ancestors. He was a guardian of his people's freedom. Lapu-Lapu viewed the arrival of the Spanish with suspicion. He had heard tales of other islands conquered and subjugated by European powers. He refused to allow his people to suffer the same fate. He was determined to protect Mactan's sovereignty and preserve their way of life. The people of Mactan were skilled warriors. They were adept at hand-to-hand combat. They used a variety of weapons, including spears, bows and arrows, and daggers. They were also skilled boatmen, navigating the waters around their island with ease. They were prepared to defend their homeland against any threat. Lapu-Lapu's people lived in villages scattered along the coastline. They fished in the surrounding waters and cultivated crops such as rice, bananas, and coconuts. Life on Mactan was simple but challenging. The islanders were resilient, resourceful, and fiercely independent. Magellan, eager to explore this new land and establish trade, sailed from island to island. He encountered a variety of cultures and customs. Some chieftains welcomed him and his men, offering gifts and provisions. Others viewed them with suspicion, wary of their intentions. Upon reaching Cebu, Magellan encountered Raja Humabon, a chieftain who ruled over a significant portion of the island. Humabon, impressed by the Spanish weapons and ships, agreed to an alliance with Magellan. He saw an opportunity to gain an advantage over his rivals. Magellan, in turn, saw a chance to convert the islanders to Christianity and establish a Spanish foothold in the region. The meeting between Magellan and Humabon was a clash of cultures. They exchanged gifts, Magellan offering European goods, while Humabon presented him with gold and spices. They struggled to communicate, relying on gestures and interpreters. Despite these barriers, they managed to forge a bond, albeit a tenuous one. Magellan, eager to demonstrate his power and solidify the alliance, offered to help Humabon subdue his enemies. Humabon, eager to expand his influence, agreed. Magellan saw this as an opportunity to spread Christianity. He believed that by converting the islanders, he could bring them under Spanish control. Section 5. Seeds of Conflict, the Conversion Campaign. Magellan, a devout Catholic, was determined to spread the Christian faith. He saw it as his duty to convert the heathens he encountered. He believed that by embracing Christianity, the islanders would be saved. He used a combination of persuasion and coercion. Many islanders, influenced by Humabon's conversion, willingly embraced Christianity. They were baptized, taught Christian prayers, and encouraged to abandon their traditional beliefs. However, this rapid conversion was often superficial. Many islanders continued to practice their own traditions in secret, blending them with the newly introduced faith. However, not all were receptive to Magellan's attempts at conversion. Some clung to their traditional beliefs, seeing the Spanish as a threat to their way of life. Lapu-Lapu, the chieftain of Mactan, was a staunch opponent of conversion. Word of Magellan's activities reached Lapu-Lapu. He learned about the alliance with Humabon. He heard about the Spanish attacks on those who refused to convert. Lapu-Lapu viewed these actions as a direct threat. He refused to allow his people to be subjected to such treatment. He prepared for war, determined to repel any attempt by the Spanish to set foot on his island. Section 6. The Battle of Mactan, a clash of arms. Magellan, emboldened by his success in Cebu, set his sights on Mactan. He underestimated Lapu-Lapu's resolve. He believed that he could easily subdue the island with his superior weapons and tactics. He would learn a costly lesson that day. Magellan's fleet arrived on the shores of Mactan on the morning of April 27, 1521. The Spanish ships, armed with cannons, fired upon the island, but the shallow waters prevented them from reaching the shore. Magellan, leading a force of around 60 men, landed on the beach, expecting an easy victory. Lapu-Lapu's warriors, armed with spears, bows, and arrows, charged into battle with fierce determination. They were fighting for their homes, their families, and their freedom. They overwhelmed the Spanish, who were taken aback by the ferocity of the attack. The clash was brutal and chaotic, the air filled with the clang of metal against metal, the cries of the wounded, and the war cries of the combatants. Magellan, confident that his superior weapons would ensure victory, led his men into the thick of the battle. He underestimated the courage and skill of Lapu-Lapu's warriors. They fought with the fury of cornered animals, determined to repel the invaders. Section 7. The Fall of Magellan, a turning point. The tide of battle turned against the Spanish. They were outnumbered and outmaneuvered. Their armor, so effective against European weapons, proved cumbersome in the tropical heat. Their gunpowder weapons, while deadly at a distance, were slow to reload, leaving them vulnerable in close combat. Magellan, realizing the gravity of his miscalculation, fought with desperation. He was struck by a poisoned arrow, the venom coursing through his body. He continued to fight, urging his men on, but his movements slowed. The death of their leader demoralized the Spanish forces. They began to retreat, their formations crumbling under the relentless assault of Lapu-Lapu's warriors. The few remaining Spanish soldiers, realizing the battle was lost, scrambled back to their boats, leaving their fallen comrades behind. The Battle of Mactan was a resounding victory for Lapu-Lapu and his warriors. They had repelled the European invaders, defending their island and their way of life. This victory resonated throughout the islands, proving that the Spanish were not invincible. Section 8. The Aftermath, Shifting Tides of Power. The death of Magellan sent shockwaves through the remaining Spanish forces. The expedition, leaderless and demoralized, abandoned their plans for conquest. They set sail for the Spice Islands, hoping to salvage something from their ill-fated voyage. The Battle of Mactan had a profound impact on the Philippines. It delayed Spanish colonization by over 40 years, It served as a symbol of resistance against foreign domination. The victory at Mactan did not completely deter the Spanish. They returned in force a few decades later, led by Miguel López de Legazpi. This time, they were better prepared, learning from Magellan's mistakes. They established a permanent settlement in Cebu in 1565, marking the beginning of Spanish colonial rule in the Philippines, which lasted for over 3 centuries. Lapu-Lapu's victory at Mactan had a lasting impact on the Filipino people. He became a national hero, a symbol of courage, determination, and resistance against foreign rule. His image adorns statues, monuments, and even the Philippine peso, a testament to his enduring legacy. Section 9. A Legacy of Resistance, Remembering Mactan. The story of Magellan and Lapu-Lapu is a tale of ambition, clashing cultures, and the struggle for freedom. It is a reminder that even the mightiest empires can be challenged by the human spirit's indomitable will. The Battle of Mactan holds a special place in the hearts of Filipinos. It is a source of national pride, a testament to the bravery of their ancestors who dared to resist foreign domination. It is a reminder that freedom is not a gift but a right worth fighting for. Every year, Filipinos commemorate the Battle of Mactan with festivals and reenactments. They remember Lapu-Lapu as a national hero, a symbol of resistance against oppression. His story continues to inspire generations of Filipinos to fight for their beliefs, to protect their heritage, and to defend their nation's sovereignty. The clash between Magellan and Lapu-Lapu is a story that transcends time. It is a reminder that the quest for power and dominance often comes at a high cost. It is a story that celebrates the human spirit's resilience and the enduring power of courage in the face of adversity. It is a story that continues to resonate centuries later, reminding us that the fight for freedom is a timeless struggle.